Like a Hellcat.
What up, YouTube? It's your girl Kyla. That's messed up. Anyways, I am outside. I just got my hair done, finished by my aunt. Looks amazing. So I'm outside. Thought I'd do a quick story time since people been saying I should do more story times. So I'm going to but give a little backstory to one of my videos that I did previously. The one I said where my domestic situation, I think, contributed to my parents divorcing. So I am a teenage mom. I got pregnant on my birthday at the age of 18, so I was technically legally an adult. I got pregnant. That was not part of my plan. I honestly didn't even have a boyfriend or even had sex until my senior year because I had goals. There's things that I wanted to do. I knew where I wanted to go. And usually when I set out a plan or if I set out something that I want to do, I accomplish it. I make sure. Well, this definitely was not in my plan. I thought that I would not follow in the footsteps of many of my family members. I thought that I would be the one to not fall into that stereotype of being a teenage mom in high school. But I did. And I was devastated because it was literally right after I found out I was accepted to UNC North Carolina, Chapel Hill. I was supposed to be going to my dream school. I got accepted into my dream school where Michael Jordan went. And it wasn't because he went there, it's because they have an amazing basketball and also legal program. I was going to get my paralegal degree. And then that same week I find out I'm pregnant. I knew something was wrong. My baby's dad told me 3 days after it happened that he had taken off the condom. I was drunk. I really wasn't experienced with having sex, so I really didn't know what it felt like with or without a condom. And at that point, I knew it was over because I was already late by 3 days. So at that point, it was just trying to figure out what to do. So my ex-best friend came over to my house. I went and picked her up. We went to my house, took 2 pregnancy tests that both came back positive. I told him, or she actually told him, because I was too busy crying and I was in shock. At that point, I knew it was over. I couldn't go to my dream school with a baby by myself in a different state. That was just not going to happen. It wasn't a possibility. I was devastated, to say the least. So I waited a while because I was trying to figure out how to tell my parents. And one night I just started asking my dad a bunch of questions as to what happened when my cousins told my aunt that they were pregnant and how did she take it. And as I was asking these questions, he was like, "You're pregnant, huh?" And I said, "Yes." He didn't seem upset. It didn't really faze him. It was the question of, how are we going to tell your mom? And then I was like, I kind of thought that you would tell her while I wasn't home. And the crazy thing about it, as soon as we stepped in the door, my mom was like, "Hey," and he was like, "Your daughter has something to tell you." Just threw me underneath the bus. Just threw me. Just bam. So, and we didn't even get in the house. We were in the garage going into the house. And sorry that someone's coming. And there I am in like the little walkway where there's like the bathroom, and then you go, and then there's the living room, and the kitchen, and the front of the stairs. So she was like, "What do you want to tell me?" So here I am stuttering like and then she kind of figured it out. She was like, "Don't tell me you're pregnant." And I said yes. And the next thing she did, she yelled no, and she ran out the door. I don't know where she ran to, because after that I was just like, so yeah, I'm gonna go to my room now. I don't know when she came back. She didn't talk to me for 3 days. she said that the people at her job calmed her down to say that it's a blessing because technically I'm an adult, but legally an adult. I was almost done with school. They knew that I was going to continue school, just not at the school that I wanted to. And that is a blessing that she was able to have a grandchild this early so she can actually enjoy instead of at an older age where she might not get to enjoy her as much. So my mom came around. She's like, all right, well, we just need to go and make sure and see how far along you are. We made an appointment the next week. I got the blood test done. They found out I was 6 weeks pregnant. He talked to me, figure out what I want to do. I said, of course, I'm keeping the baby. I then called my daughter's dad and let him know, like, yeah, I'm 6 weeks pregnant. And he's like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'm keeping it. It's not like, it's technically your fault, but it's also my fault because I didn't let my mom know that I was potentially going to be sexually active and need to get on birth control. So I take full responsibility. And everything was good. I had a great, healthy pregnancy. She was getting big. I had a baby shower. I graduated high school, top 10% of my class. Sorry, back. A rambunctious doggy came. So everything was good for a while. I didn't notice later on. It was in my pregnancy too that he started to become more verbally and emotionally abusive, and then kind of physically he would just like push me, like push my head and stuff like that. But then I didn't think nothing of it, or they make it seem like it's your fault. And that's the thing, like he made me feel like everything was my fault, like what I did provoked him to do what he did, when actually, in all actuality, it doesn't. They're very manipulative. They're very narcissistic. Anyone who abuses, they are narcissists. Like, they do no wrong. And so I had my pregnancy. He proposed. He brought me a ring. I was in the hospital for 7 days because I had to have an emergency C-section. My water broke. It's funny. My water broke. And I asked my mom, I just got done from going to the bathroom. And I asked my mom, what does it feel like when your water breaks? She says, it feels like you can't stop peeing. I was like, well, I think my water just broke because I was sleeping with her that night. And she was like, get out of my bed. And she screamed. And so I sat on the toilet and I put on a pad while they were getting the baby stuff ready to put in the car. It was only me and my mom. My brother and my dad were going to come later. I let my baby dad know. I let his side of family know. I think everyone knew. But it was during the week, so like school and stuff. So my water broke at 5 a.m. I didn't have my daughter until 10 something at night. I only dilated to 3 centimeters. I had a difficult delivery. My pregnancy, great. It was just the delivery. It's like she was like, okay, yo, I'm ready to come out, and then put the pause on it. Like, brakes. No, never mind. I don't want to come out. I don't want to do this. They had to induce me. My contractions were really, 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 really strong and hard, to the point where with every contraction, her heartbeat would stop and mine would stop, and then our oxygen. After I got to the point where I was comfortable, I was able to fall asleep. I was finally able to get the epidural, because you have to be so far along before you can get the epidural. I got to 4 centimeters after almost 10 hours. They gave it to me, but I didn't dilate anymore. I woke up to having oxygen and like all these wires and stuff, and so I panicked and started taking stuff out. They're like, no, you need to keep that in there because you and your baby's life is in danger. We're trying to wait for our operating room to come up so we can do a C-section. That freaks me out. They're like, no, you won't feel anything, and we have to get her out, else you both might die. They were finally able to get a room. I was like, I want my baby dad and I want my mom in there, because I can only have 2 people. He wanted his mom, but I'm like, no, I need my mom. My mom. I'm the pregnant one. So they were both in there. My mom wasn't even paying attention to me. She's too busy looking at the doctor, watching the doctors pull her out and everything. So I could feel them pull and tug, but it didn't hurt. And then I heard her cry. I was so drugged. Like, I had a different type of drug in me at the time too that made me feel drunk so I could rest. So with that, she pops out. I hear, ow, she bit me. So she bit the nurse on the way out. She was born at 21, almost 20, no, 21 and a half, 22 inches, 8 pounds, 13 ounces. She was a big girl. And everything after that was fine. They got the placenta, they checked everything. I didn't bleed, thankfully, like I had. After that, we were healthy. I just had to stay in the hospital until I was completely healed enough, because it was painful to walk around. I had to wait for that epidural to wear off, which took longer. I had a catheter. They had to make sure I could pee, that I passed poop on my own, and that the bleeding as well. I had to get the stitches taken out. So after that, we went home with a beautiful, healthy baby girl. And I will do a part 2 to the story time when we get into the really nasty, juicy side of being with a narcissistic abuser. Like, it took me a while to get out this relationship, and I'll explain why in part 2, but I literally could have lost my life a couple of times. And if it wasn't for God, then I probably would have. But again, thank you for listening for part 1. Stay tuned to part 2, probably later on, because we're about to go eat some chilies and I'm hungry. But thank you again. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really do appreciate everyone who's watching these videos as well as subscribing to my videos. Let's get me to 400. But I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Like a Hellcat.